I'm back and ready to bring you some Sunday Fun Day action for the LCS. We kick things off with Viper and FlyQuest looking to get the better of Impact and Team Liquid. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LCS Countdown, where for 30 minutes we take a look at who's hot and who's not, and facilitate a healthy discussion between TSM fans until the timer reaches 0, and we jump into Champions Select. Looking at the standings, we've got Dignitas and Cloud9 sitting on top at 3-0. FlyQuest will look to join them as they have their first game of the weekend versus Team Liquid, with a 4-way tie for 5th, followed by TSM, then CLG, who are both winless. With those standings in mind, I'd like to get a heat check on those positions and whether or not the rise and fall of different teams is legit. Let's start with Dignitas, currently sitting atop the table at 3-0.
I have them as a Flaming Hot Cheetos.
Flaming Hot Cheetos hot.
Yeah, so pretty good. I think most people like them.
Decently hot.
Yeah, decently hot. I was trying to look up the Scoville on them really quickly.
Do you think Scoville wasted their time with Flaming Hot Cheetos?
Yeah, well.
I don't know about that. Relatively hot, though.
Yeah, relatively hot. I like them. I'm sold on them being top 3 in the league, probably for the majority of the rest of the season. I think they look really good.
Yeah, they're the real deal, and they're a new team, unlike the teams that are relatively at the top, Team Liquid and Cloud9 that we always assume they've been around for a while. Dignitas has been together for only less than a month. So I think that this team has a long ways to improve that could get even better and make a run for the top 2.
Right back in the LCS and starting things off strong with that 3-0. The other team currently undefeated, joining them at the top of the table, is C9. One of those more perennial powerhouses that we expect to be at the top, but they have really crushed it this season.
Yeah, so Cloud9 for me, I have them as a pre-inflation period of the universe after the Big Bang, sometimes called the Planck epoch. It's when it's hot enough that there are no fundamental forces, there's no elementary particles. It's just too damn hot for anything to form.
Galactically hot.
That is Cloud9. They are so goddamn hot.
People thought they lost the offseason.
No.
Right. I know it, yeah.
Right?
People do believe that. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to catch up to Mark's explanation of hotness here.
It's off the scale.
It's on a scale that I just don't understand. Galactically cannot comprehend.
They are looking like the best team in the league.
So why? Why does this team look so good when all the discussion was about these big losses they sustained, in a sense, during the offseason?
I've got a theory, but I want to hear yours first.
I think for me, they were able to double down on what worked by going even more aggressive on the top side of the map with Blabber coming in for Svenskeren.
Okay.
You still have Niski and Licorice as some of the best solo laners in the league. And then I think they made a big upgrade in the bot lane with Vulcan for Zazel, and I think Sven for Smoothie was actually an upgrade as well. So you just have a really strong top side with an upgraded bot lane that is mostly focused on either having Vulcan get out of the lane or going even.
I credit this to the coaching staff.
That too,
the fact that this is a team that has held on to the same coach for, I think, 5 years now, which really allows you to lay the foundation of how you want new players to come into your team and run the same structural practices every single time. That means it doesn't matter what players you're letting go, whether it's an MVP or a longtime Cloud9 player, you're still going to get the same results. And credit to Reaper for that.
Right, one of the longest standing relationships, coach to organization, and you're seeing kind of the fruits of that labor there from Reaper and being able to workshop kids into a successful team. Lastly, I want to talk about FlyQuest here. This is another team that sits undefeated, however, a game behind of these other two. They play their first game of week 2 today. Mark, give me the heat check.
I'm giving them some lukewarm tea.
Lukewarm tea?
That's
it?
Galactic hot to lukewarm tea.
It comes out, it's great,
right?
And then it starts to cool. And that's how I feel a little bit about FlyQuest. I think they're good for week 1. They'll be still pretty good probably in week 2. But for my heat check, I just don't believe that they're going to stay hot this whole time.
Upcoming schedule is tough. Yes, they have a TL without Broxa to face here, but the next 2 opponents are the other 2 undefeated teams, one of which is Galactically Hot, and I don't know who wins, lukewarm tea or Galactic.
Well, they have to play
pre-Big Bang Heats.
They also have to play Flaming Hot Cheetos. Don't overlook the Flaming Hot Cheetos matchup.
The Tea Cheetos matchup.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. I think they're here to stay. I think you have a hard time, because I know I do. I have a hard time seeing FlyQuest be a top team just because it's FlyQuest. We haven't gotten used to this team being near the top really ever. So the fact that they come out swinging, we're a little hesitant thinking, are you for real? Like, is that ID real? Is that fake or not? We're like, no, it's true. They're actually...
Well, thank you for copping to
Here's why.
I will agree that they'll make playoffs. I think they'll make playoffs.
I think why? It's because right now the game is so fast-paced, it really resembles solo queue a lot. And guys that are solo queue stars are having a great time, like Johnson from Dignitas. I think FlyQuest
Similar.
Similar. They have players that always put an emphasis on solo queue. Guys like Santorian who have always been at the top, and it's
Viper,
easy to
yeah.
translate those very aggressive champions and playstyles into the current pro meta.
All right. Well, I come away from this conversation still unsure about
I didn't
the
tell you
relative
any of those
strength
that I was
of any
doing
of these
that.
teams, mostly because I just don't know how to evaluate Mark's power rankings there. When it comes to leaving a good impression in the starting weeks of the split, some players would make the 1v2 or even the 1v3 outplay. But then there are the players who don't even need to win the 1v4 just to say I'm helping, presented by State Farm. In his game versus Evil Geniuses, Hauntzer proves that while one may be the loneliest number, it can also net your team a nice little Baron buff. Let's take a look.
Hauntzer now feeling like he can take this 1v1 a little bit more aggressively. PK will bring Bang in as well, so Haunt's actually in a 1v3 again, but he's a little low this time around. Will get shut down, but that is going to mean Baron for Golden Guardians.
They can top all now.
No, don't go Baron.
Top ulting,
Go Baron.
top ulting.
Go.
Starts. They're top ulting. It's 3. I think someone has CP.
I'm dead. Oh. Maybe I can get it. Oh, wait for me, guys. Yeah.
Now that helped the Golden Guardians move to their first victory of the split. So while maybe it didn't look like the cleanest, kind of adhering to that strategy and splitting the map did end up netting them the win.
It gets you happy, which matters more, because starting 0-3 is a really bad way to get your hopes up for the split, because you're just looking at all the other teams and you think personally that, oh, we should be so much better than these teams, especially if you beat them during scrims and then you're losing on stage. The fact that they get this one there, even if it's on the back of Hauntzer's unique split push Fiora strat.
Well, I think it's something that they can maybe build around a little bit, not Fiora every game, but giving Hauntzer these kind of 1v1-esque champions and letting him be on an island and kind of make his own plays, because Hauntzer has been the #1 option sometimes on teams, #1, #2, and he can be that again here.
Getting that all-important first win onto the board. Let's go ahead and take a look at today's schedule. First up, FlyQuest try to maintain their momentum as they aim to take down Team Liquid. Then TSM try to shake off their rocky Week 1 versus Evil Geniuses with 2 more matches before the Academy Showcase, 100 Thieves Academy versus Team Liquid Academy. A reminder that we've got another show day going down tomorrow with Monday Night League following 3 Academy matches and the Bud Light League Lounge shortly after we wrap up the week, where Riv and I will kick back with Wild Turtle and Power of Evil. Should be some fun. But looking at that first game, for so long, FlyQuest, they've been trying to build a team around Wild Turtle piece by piece, and it feels like with Ignar, he might finally have the duo partner he needs.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the last 2 years for Turtle, he hasn't really had a great support behind him. It was Stunt mostly in 2018.
How dare you?
Hey, I'm just saying, you know, Stunt 2018, with D and JJ in 2019, none of them, well, Stunt has come back in the league, but, you know, the guys from 2019 aren't starting anymore. Ignar has been great at periods of time, and that is something that can help unlock Wild Turtle, who's been, for so long, kind of promised as the main carry of what should be this FlyQuest roster. He can maybe finally do that.
I'll have you know, when I was on Misfits and Renegades, we wanted Ignar way back in the day. We had an eye on this player. He's a very good on hook champion, so he debuted the Blitzcrank. We haven't had a Blitzcrank yet in the LCS, and that kind of assertive player is exactly what FlyQuest needed to have leadership, because they were not doing anything last summer split. They were just sitting passively back. So hopefully this is the catalyst that gets this team to the peak of action that we wanted them to be.
I love seeing him come in with those signature picks and to pick up wins on top of it all. They aim to be the 3rd team to go 3-0 opposite Team Liquid today, who, despite suffering a loss yesterday, they kept it close.
Yeah, I think if you look at that goal graph, it was up and down. There were multiple points in the game where I thought Dig was minutes away from winning the game. They had a push up the mid lane that looked great for them. They get killed. Then Team Liquid has a push up the top lane, looks great for them. They get killed, and in the end, it's a last-second push for Dignitas that actually walks away with it. And they were really impressive, even in the loss. It was probably one of the highest level games we've seen this split so far.
I think what was really exciting for me about this game was seeing the mid laners kind of battle it out, with Froggen being such a strong control mage. And then Jensen, I think, has quickly become the late game insurance for Team Liquid, where he'll just be on a champion that wants to scale, sit back. You know, he's been on Orianna, Azir, and I believe Ryze now. So just all farming, all late game, and he seems to be the real big powerhouse when you hit the 25-30 minute mark. I want to see teams attack Jensen before he gets to that phase, because these are very deadly champions, and he executes on them tremendously well.
Does FlyQuest have the pieces to do that, to attack Jensen? Because we've talked a lot about Wild Turtle and Ignar in the bot
Yeah.
lane. Is this Ignar getting to the mid lane? How does FlyQuest achieve that goal?
So I think Ignar getting to the mid lane is a big deal, but also Centaurion had ganked mid lane in their matchup against CLG when he was playing Rek'Sai, so some focus into the mid lane ganks helps a lot because PoE has shown that he's willing to move away from those late game champions with scaling and go towards the more meta rumbles in the mid lane and just trying to be more like the LPL, which I can't fault you. They won last year.
All right, fair enough. Alongside the battle for a spot at the top, FlyQuest is continuing their Tree Quest initiative. Let's check in on how many trees they have planted with our tree tracker. 350 trees planted so far.
Through 2 games.
Okay, we were talking about this in rehearsal. Do we have video evidence of this? Have we seen the seeds go into the ground? Do we know how
Empty
is this
promises.
Are they
happening?
seedlings? Are they baby trees?
What kind of trees are these? Are these little brushes or are we talking big sequoias? Because there's a lot of things that I
they'll become
have
that.
to need answers for.
And hey, plant one tree at a time, man. Soon you'll have a forest. 350, they're right on their way to a forest there.
Yeah.
And again, as you mentioned, only 2 games. That's quite an average there, 175
If I
a
want to
game.
do math on air, I'd try and figure out how many that is in 18, but I'm not gonna. It's a lot.
175 times 18?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Dude, read the top.
We're stepping away. When we return, TSM fans get to weigh in on their week 1. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the LCS Countdown. We're about 15 minutes away from that first game of the day. Ahead of today's games, let's take a look at the players to watch for week 2. We've got 100 Thieves Meteos, Dignitas Johnson, TSM Bjergsen, and FlyQuest Ignar. Let's kick it off with Meteos.
I think he had a pretty rough week 1, but a lot of that felt like you could kind of put it on some of the team starts, some aggressive invades against him, set him behind. After this CLG game, yes, they did walk away with a win, but there were some questionable moments for him. He's not having the best start to the split, and he is supposed to be one of the big veteran presences on this team. We all know how good Meteos is. Obviously, this is nothing about his skill level, but so far, it hasn't manifested on the Rift, and we want to see him step up.
Yeah, he was the first pickup.
Right, right.
He's
You
gotta
built
deliver.
the roster around him. There is something to be said for putting our eyes to him to say, hey, you got to start putting up numbers. Next up, Dignitas Johnson, the rookie, who is performing.
Yeah, this guy's an absolute beast right now, and it seems like we're having a hard time figuring out how good is he really because he's kind of in the shadows being quietly really good, and I think alongside Aframu is something that has allowed him to shine because there's no way you come into the LCS as a rookie without a solid support and do well anyway. So I want to also pair him with Aframu and look at both of them during the laning phase and see how much is one helping the other.
At the very least, it's a team with a ton of veteran and all-star talent, and he is someone who is holding his own and being a major part of their wins, being able to pick off Double If a couple times yesterday to help them out is huge for a rookie.
Yeah, Johnson, one of our most rookie players in the league. Now let's talk about one of our most rookie, exactly. Let's talk about one of our most senior players in Bjergsen.
Starting out 0-2 feels really bad for this roster considering they were so hyped up, and Bjergsen in particular in the offseason becoming a part owner and all these storylines about him about taking control of the roster and really being the main voice. It's now time to lead them to their first win because they really, really need to grab one.
We're starting to see the same issues that plague Team TSM all the time continue to appear even in this iteration. And it might be too early still. We're going to obviously get to look at them today. But if this team does not make it work, we have to start pointing fingers at the things that have been there for a long time. The structure behind TSM's organization and approach to League of Legends. And Bjergsen has been there the entire time. And we can't look into their org and see what's going on, but it's got to come from outside of the players at this point. It's been a revolving door, and the problems are still there.
Well, let's see if he can bring that win today. Let's also hop back over to FlyQuest Ignar. We had some praise for him earlier, but he is, again, one of our players to watch.
This is my guy to watch just because he plays Blitzcrank. No joke. He's been amazing. He's doing what Smoothie's been trying to do, but not dying in the way. Exactly. Deathless. Yeah.
I think just seeing what else he can have, too. We've seen the Leona and Blitzcrank, but that's what we would have known to look out for. What else can he pull to help FlyQuest out if he starts getting targeted?
Right. What happens when he gets tested, we'll have to wait and see. In an effort, though, to give fans more of a voice on the LCS, we have opened up the studio space for healthy, and I want to be very clear, this is healthy debate. So I've welcomed 2 TSM fans to present their cases after week 1.
Let me tell you why TSM is terrible. First off, Bjergsen takes off All-Star to boot camp and prepare for the season. Then, He talks about getting back to their winning ways, taking back control of the team, winning again. Then you know what happens next? They lose to Immortals in a 60-minute game. Then they lose to Schernfire. And you know what's worse? They looked exactly like they used to, even though half the team is different. They don't take risks, they lose in the mid-game, and they lost. Dude, don't overreact off of 2 games. Dardoch looked good. A lot of people didn't even think that was possible. Give it some time. The pieces are there. You know what our goal at 15 was? Plus 1,900. That's the best in the league. It's better than all those other imposter undefeated teams. We just have some things to work out. Yeah, the mid game wasn't great, but that's fixable. We have talent. That's where the early game gold leads come from, and the mid game is easy to fix. Whatever, man. I've seen this story before. TSM has enough talent to squeak through the season and make playoffs before getting smashed by the actual good teams. You know, I'm not even sure they'll make playoff this season. Bjergsen, he's got to go. What? What? Do you even watch the games? They were a play away from winning both games last week. Don't chase Soaz Bot to give up Baron versus Immortals. They win. Win the team fight for Dragon Soul. They win against TSM. They win that. They could be 2-0. Just have a little bit of patience. I'm just saying. They suck. F you.
The only person Jatt ever wants to talk to, himself.
Yeah, he agreed only to do that. If he could do it opposite himself. Oh my God. Well, that's about all you can say on TSM. We're gonna take a break. When we return, we've got some Jatt stats where I may or may not cheat. Who's to say? Don't go anywhere.
I think we'll know.
Welcome back to the LCS Countdown, where FlyQuest and Team Liquid are facing off in not too long. Week 1 was a little rough, but that was just my warm-up week for this edition of Jatt Stats, where I'm looking to crush it.
Are we keeping score?
I'm gonna crush it.
This is just a fun fact. It's not even a stat. Do you know today's the palindrome? Have you guys heard that?
Yes, did know that.
02/02/2020, same forward as backwards. It's the first time that's happened in 909 years.
Whoa,
Yeah,
which is also
it's
a palindrome.
really cool. Yeah, actually, it would be. That's sweet. Question 1.
Cool.
So CS percentage, this is the crazy stat I was telling you guys about. CS percentage between 15 and 30 minutes is the percentage of a team CS that is taken between 15 and 30 minutes by a player. It often shows how many resources the team devotes to a player. Weirdly, the number 1 and number 2 players in CS 15 to 30 are on the same team.
That almost makes no sense.
What makes even less sense is neither of them top their team in damage percentage.
Whoa. Yeah. That's horrific.
Wait, so is this a good stat or bad stat?
Yeah,
now?
I know,
right?
I'm confused,
Wait,
right?
is this multiple
Because
choice?
Two people taking the
one
resources.
team is doing a real good job of funneling resources into 2
Wait.
players heavily.
But the player who's not getting resources is actually
I
doing the most
request a
damage.
hint.
What
Have
the
they won
heck?
a game?
They have won a game. They've won
Oh,
more. They've
nice.
actually.
Okay,
I'll give
ask
you an
for a
bigger hint.
hint.
They've won 2 games.
They've won 2 games.
Whoa.
Okay, so
That's,
there's...
that narrows it down to like a couple.
Well,
things,
so
but
it can
you're
either
gonna
be
have to
it could
think
be
about it.
FlyQuest who's still 2-0, or it could
Yeah.
be a 2-1 team that has yet to that has played 3 games.
Okay. I think I'm ready to say an answer. I'm
right.
going to go with Dignitas.
I'm actually going to go with FlyQuest.
You said
I think
2 games.
I think we're getting
Dig
sort
is,
of
Dig is
baited.
3-0.
Well, I mean, you've won 3 games. You've won 2 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
See? It's like one of those.
I'm gonna go.
childhood riddles.
I'm gonna go FlyQuest though. I'm gonna
Okay,
play
FlyQuest.
the two game
Dig and.
theory.
I'll say C9 if we're including 3-0s.
All right, I actually thought one of you would get this because we memed Ryoma's low CS. It's 100 Thieves. So he has the highest damage percentage on the team.
Oh, because he's playing.
But
Because
someday
he's playing
Cody take all
Zoe,
the
and
CS.
he's just pumping damage
Yeah.
out in poke all
really
game
cool.
long, even though he's not.
I thought that was a really fun stat.
That is
That is
fun-
interesting.
That is a fun stat.
But again, is that a good or a bad stat?
You have to ask Papa
They're
Spicky on that
2-1?
one.
It's probably bad.
Question number 2, the average bot jungle proximity in the LCS is 15.5%. So that means a jungler spends 15.5% of his time between 3 and 50 minutes within 1,500 units of the bot laner. Now, the lowest jungle proximity in the LCS is 9.1%. Which team is this?
Golden Guardian.
The hint is multiple choice.
Golden Guardian.
I like that joke.
I like
Golden
Golden
Guardian is
Guardian.
not on
bet.
the multiple choice. So you'll get a
TSM.
freebie. Dig, TLC9, or
TSM.
TSM. Who has the lowest bot jungle proximity?
Just some.
TSM?
TSM.
Just some.
TSM.
Dig.
Wow, so TSM has the highest bot jungle proximity.
Seriously?
25%. Remember the game where Dardoch just can't double lift the whole game? Double Lift has the lowest.
Well, it just felt like it was a
9.1%.
60-minute game. There's a lot of opportunity.
Between
to
3 and 15.
Yeah, it's 15 for 15, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, maybe, okay. This one,
My cheating,
That was
cheating
weird.
is not helping
Oh,
me
so
today.
it's not Xmithy that likes to go. It was Xmithy that liked to go bottom, not Surefire.
So far, yeah.
Okay.
Last question. The 4 most picked champions in the LCS are Senna with 10 picks, Aatrox with 9, Tahm Kench with 8, and Lee Sin with 8. Which champ has the most wins?
Lee Sin.
Sin.
It's not on the most picked, is it? This is a trick question.
No, multiple choice, these 4.
Oh,
Sin?
then Lee Sin.
Aatrox. I'm
Dash?
switching Aatrox.
I like Aatrox.
Lee Sin.
Damn it,
Good
I
job,
had it
Mark.
right.
I've got one right.
One right answer. Great job.
He landed,
It landed on the shelf. I was like, where did it go? I didn't actually hear it hit the ground.
That's cool.
Good knock
pretty
over
funny.
the Kobe statue. Now.
Wow. Okay, so even
Yeah.
cheating. I'm still.
You were trying to cheat?
No, not actually.
Okay.
No.
I was hoping that at some point, since I said I was going to cheat, a producer was going to jump in my ear and give me the right answer. They left me hanging.
Oh, well.
Wow,
We
nope.
knew the answer.
I just get I got a fat
ourselves.
nope in my ear just now. All right, well, thank you very much, Jatt. In an effort to best assess my analyst's ability to predict, though, I've picked an opponent for the two of you to compete against today. We're bringing back the prediction games here.
All right, so for today's prediction game, we're going to be throwing 2 minions at Dash. He's going to try and catch the one for who he thinks is going to win, but he doesn't know which logo is on the bottom. So our first matchup is Team Liquid and FlyQuest.
Team Liquid FlyQuest.
Okay, who do you think's going to win?
Without Proxys still, I'm going to go FlyQuest. I think FlyQuest is going to continue their, short but still undefeated streak here, plant some more trees.
All right, you ready?
All right, I'm ready.
1, 2, 3. You got Team Liquid?
I got Team Liquid. Okay.
All right, not so hot.
I want to taste some. This one. Yes!
Okay.
Yes! All right.
All right, next up, we've got these 2 teams.
Oh, here we go. Okay, go for this one. Cloud9.
Last game. You want to help me out?
Absolutely. I can't wait to throw balls at
3,
Oh, dear Lord.
2, 1.
All right, this one's closer to me. I'll go with this one. It's immortal.
There you go.
Oh no.
I enjoyed that a lot. Less than you guys, but
You got decent predictions out of it. All
I think I like 2 out of my 4. I would say if I hit 50-50 on the day, I'll feel pretty good about it. Let's see how I align with you guys. Again, I called FlyQuest in game 1. I had TSM,
C9.
then C9, and then Immortals at the end of the day. You two, though, you differ in that first game of the day. Crumbs is on my side.
Yeah.
That's what I like to
FlyQuest.
see. Mark, though, going for Team Liquid.
Team Liquid, yes.
I wanna
Stat
see-
spot
I wanna
is
see the
surprising
scores.
with the difference in games 2 and 4.
Yeah.
There's a lot to
That spot has already had an 0-4 day. It cannot be trusted.
That's true.
How are you feeling?
I think I expect a two correct and 2 incorrect here from my. Oh, you said. Oh, there's no team
sorry,
on
I
the
don't know.
bottom.
I didn't
League of
grab one
Legends.
that's
I
Team
picked
one.
League of
Yeah.
Legends. All right, game 1. It's coming in 1:45. Oh my goodness, we're running out of time. I want to hear some win conditions. Crumbs, we're coming to you. FlyQuest, let's both get our first prediction
All
right.
right, quickly. FlyQuest needs to focus on tree planting as they always do. I like that about them. Going for kills and ocean dragons. That's what they plant trees for. You do those things along the way, you're going to get yourself the win. And also get Ignar into the mid lane. That's what you said they should do. That's what I had written down as well. So
Right.
if Ignar stops Jensen, they'll have a good game.
Plant 1 tree at a time. Soon you'll have a forest. Mark!
I like the idea of trying to win around bot lane, and I know teams have done a lot of swapping, and that has hurt Double's ability to crush it, but
Okay.
I want to control Ignar, hopefully with a winning matchup so he can't go roam around mid and do these other things that we're talking about. And I think you'll win the other lanes kind of on your own. I do like Impact versus Viper and Jensen versus PoE.
Real quick, how do you reconcile that win condition with the Jatt stat that we just had, which illustrated that Team Liquid doesn't go bottom with their jungler?
I think it's time to. I
Okay.
think that's probably one of the reasons that I haven't loved Team Liquid so far in the first 3 games that we've seen them, is because they're not playing the way that they've won a bunch of championships with. Doublelift has usually been one of the highest resource AD carries in the league. For a good reason.
So
Go back to him.
You don't like Schernfire and being his own man, his own jungler doing his. You
Dog-
want him
no,
to just
dog
be
champ.
a
Get
bot
down to the
slave.
dog-
Get down to the bot lane.
Yeah.
All right, there you have it, our predictions for the day. Let's rather get ourselves into game 1, tossing over Riv and Kobe in the battle arena. Oh, I want to